All right, we are live. Welcome in, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Gentleman's Code. Today is January 29th, almost the end of January already. Can you believe how quick the year is flying by? Before you know it, it'll be 2026. You still, guys, haven't done anything with your life, so make sure to get on the gas.
Yeah.
It goes by so fast, so you guys gotta seriously, you gotta think about it every single day, how fast stuff could go on. So, good morning, Priamo.
Morning, Bobby. I love the talking shit right out the gate. That's the best. They're still
On our phone. Oh, what?
that's what I was
Oh,
gonna say.
he's chirping to me.
They're rolling out of bed. They're rubbing the crust out of their eyes, and all they hear is you haven't done anything with your life. And they're still there hugging the fucking pillow, drooling. They might even be that. Well, not even with their real girlfriend. They probably got their blow up doll next to them in bed. They're getting. You're not even doing anything with your life. Look. They're gonna watch this. Watch. They're gonna watch this because the gentleman's code is always the one live stream we do all week where somehow we get all the traffic on this video later in the day, 11 noon. I wonder why 11 noon is. Probably because that's when they're waking up. You guys gotta start getting up early for these live streams. This is the shit right here. I'm already on my fourth shot of espresso.
I'm sweating, man. Got a sweater on and I'm
Yeah.
got coffee leaking out of me.
Yeah, Bobby's out here doing fucking marathons in the morning in Tampa. He's coming back. He's still doing the gentleman's code at 8 a.m. Like, what are you guys doing? Come on. So, but yeah, anyways, talking, what was I going to say? Yeah, what's going on, Bobby? Yeah, I just love that talking shit right out the gate. It's classic.
Yeah, nothing much. Just working. We got a lot of stuff behind the scenes for the gentleman going on, so we're working hard. So if you guys haven't joined the community yet, make sure to get in there now. The Taylor's Code on the school platform. Get in locked in at that price because the price is going to go up at 400 members, and the price is probably going to go up once we release our newest, latest, and greatest product, which is still uh, classified top secret. So we got a lot of stuff in store that we're going to be putting out. So make sure to get in the Taylor's Code now while you can. Get into the community, get into the private crypto plays where the guys are making crypto plays, making money off that. Just conversating, having a sense of community is super big when you're trying to build something. It's impossible to do by yourself. We talk about this all the time. And that's one of the topics that I kind of wanted to lean into. Not only doing it by yourself is super hard, but doing it in general is super hard. So something that I was writing down last night when in preparation for this call is a lot of people, and we talk about this all the time. A lot of people just spin the wheels, even get going, and even when they do get going, they figure out something they want to do, but they're super fixated on the details of it. And how I like to think about it is picture you're going to build your dream house. When you're building your dream house, you don't start with what color you're going to paint the walls behind you, right? You don't, what kind of flooring you want, what kind of faucet handles you're going to put on. You don't think about that kind of stuff. You're thinking about the foundation, the concrete that's going to go on, how many bedrooms, how big's the living room, is there a pool in the backyard? Different things like that. The structure, the foundation of what you're going to build is way more important than the minor details. Think of it as a web page, what color the web page is going to be, what font you use for the details. So what actually is your business? What can your business not survive with? Is that the product? Is that the service you provide? Is it you? Is it outsourcing help? So figuring out what your business actually is and needs to survive and to generate cash flow, which is most important, you have to figure that stuff out before you start worrying and stressing about the minor details. So you could hyperfixate on what it is that you need to start your business and go all in on that. And then the details you could fill in on top of that. So what are your thoughts on that, Priamo? And what do you see from these people who are trying to start businesses that maybe have that issue?
Yeah, I agree 1,000% because it's the issue between, you know, action and motion. People want to operate in motion. They think that by preparing for something till the end of time is them actually doing something when in reality you're just preparing. So it's the same. I'll give you another analogy that I like is somebody who is preparing for an exam, right? People say, "Oh, I'm a bad test taker," but they can sit there and study for, 10, 15 hours a day for 2 weeks straight, but which is okay. Like okay, fine, you're preparing for the exam. I get it. But the doing the thing is actually doing the thing, which is taking the exam. You could prepare for this exam, study for 10, 15 hours a day for 2 months. If you never take the exam, you never did it. So it doesn't mean anything. Like you actually have to actually do the thing. Even if you fail, better that you did it and failed and get feedback and learn from it and then try it again, as opposed to just never trying it in the first place. It's action over motion. A great analogy of this is, I may have talked about it with you before, but it's another analogy of a classroom where it's a photography class, and this professor breaks up the class into two groups. And the point he's trying to make is similar to what you're making. Group A, basically, they're going to get graded on the quality. So Group A is going to get graded on the quality of one photograph. So they have the entire semester to prepare to take one photograph, and then they're going to get graded on the quality of that one picture. Group B is going to be graded on the quantity of photos that they take. So throughout the entire semester, they're going to get graded based off of how many pictures they can take. The more pictures they take, the better the grade they get. So semester ends, both the groups turn in their photographs. Group A turns in their one photograph. Group B turns in their 1,000 photographs. So between the two groups, which group do you think had the best photograph at the end of the semester?
The one photograph.
No.
No.
No. The
Oh, I
group
see what you're saying. Yep.
the group with 1,000 photographs ended up having the best picture at the end of the semester because they actually got to practice and act and did actions, took pictures, fixed the lighting, fixed the setting. They were able to experiment. They had the best pictures. The group A, who only had one chance to take the photo, all they did was prepare all semester just to be able to take one snap.
Okay.
So that's the plan to the point that you're making is, listen, just go do the thing, because just by doing it, by actually setting the wheels in motion, that's what's going to get you the results and help you improve, and then you can figure the little shit along the way through failing.
Yeah,
So
I like your example of test taking because that's very, everybody could relate to that. And especially, if we went to college together, so we understand this. You could study for a test for, like you said, weeks on hand, but that's not the real life like work because you could get in there and the test is going to be completely different than how you were studying. You could have been studying flashcards, multiple choice questions, but then once you get in there, the test is write out 20 questions. You got to write out your answer. So it could be completely different. It's the same with a business. You could get into maybe you think you're getting yourself into from an online store perspective, but then you actually get in there, you're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was at all. I thought I'd be building my product, shipping out to customers, but in reality, it's okay. Somebody else is making the product. I'm doing the marketing behind the scenes all day. So like I like that example a lot because you could study, you think you're watching YouTube videos, and then you get there and it's completely different. So that's a good example.
so so something to transition to, because the title of my stream is FAFO, right? Fuck around and find out. So I got to ask you about this. How about Pompino, first week in office, coming in fucking smacking ass, letting everybody know you're gonna take back your fucking your illegal immigrants, regardless if you want to or not, like Colombia, right? And so yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, because he's putting on a master class right now on what it's like to be a real man and operate with an iron fist in a way that's actually good for the people, right? Peace through strength is what I keep hearing now, which I love. What are your thoughts on Pompino coming in and just and cooking everybody up?
Yeah, a master class is right on in negotiation, in power grabbing, right? Just laying down the hammer, and it just goes to show how everybody was correct that over the past 4 years that we didn't have a president. Like this is like the power that the president has in a couple of days, whether you like what he's doing or not. This is what the people voted for. They voted for somebody who's going to come in and make a change and actually have power and do something. This stuff wasn't happening over the past 4 years. It was, well, I think it was happening towards their agenda, right? I think they were letting people in. They were kind of letting crime run rampant. I don't know why. Who knows why? But I think it was obviously now looking back at it, it's like, okay, it was intentional what they were doing because look at what the power of the president does have to do all these different things and to lock the border down, send the National Guard, send the military. and get planes to take people out, get ICE to go into criminals' homes, take the criminals out, send them back to their country of origin. And people who don't know the story, maybe didn't see, um, ICE rounded up some criminals from Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
had them on a plane to go back to Colombia to deport them, and air traffic control found out what the plane was and didn't let them land. So they had to come circle around and then fly back to the US immediately. President Trump did not like that, so sent out some tweets that he was going to impose 25% tariffs on Colombia if they didn't take their prisoners back. And the Colombian president folded in like an hour. He was like, at first they said no, like we're not going to take them, we don't want them. Trump said on a tweet saying everything he was going to do from tariffs to all this other stuff, and he folded in 45 minutes. Even offered his own plane to go get these people. So it just goes to show the power that the president has. And when you're not scared of what people might say or what they think about what you're doing, and you just act on what you're doing, you have so much power. He has so much power to do what he wants to do, and you're right. It's an ultimate just power move.
Yeah, fuck around and find out. And this is the point I'm saying about a masterclass that he's putting on. He's showing you what it actually is to stand your ground, what it means to actually be a man. This is the gentleman's code, right? The whole point is to live your life as a real man, as a gentleman, so that you can live not only a good life for yourself, but more importantly, a good life for your family. So look at what he's doing in the context of what a father would do for his family. If a father's trying to protect his family, he's trying to do something that's going to help the family, and then he gets any sort of pushback, any kind of pushback from outside forces in the real world, would you want your dad to just completely fold, bend at the knee? Oh, I couldn't do it, guys. I'm sorry. I was supposed to protect you. I was supposed to do what you guys needed me to do, but I got a little bit of resistance and I folded. They're better than me. They're stronger than me. You're not going to look at your father like, oh, this guy's the man. Oh my goodness. Oh, no. You're going to say, well, what the fuck? You're supposed to protect us. This is what you do. Well, Pompino has shown that in the realm of the United States and his family being the U.S., the people of the
Hmm.
U.S.,
Yeah.
he's doing what the people need from him. He's being stern about it. And then as soon as he got pushback, as soon as he got something that got in the way of that, he didn't bend at the knee and say, oh, Colombia, they're going to, well, shit, they got us. No, he said, oh, you want to fuck with us? Fantastic. Tariffs, gonna tax your people, gonna tax your country. You're not bringing products in here. Fuck your coffee. We'll get it from somewhere else, right? He implemented the what's it called? The measures to deter them from doing what they were doing. Instantly, they stopped. And this is how simple it is. People don't realize 99% of the time, if you just put your foot down and you give pushback anytime somebody tries to push back on you, they'll
Hmm.
bend at the knee, especially if you have the leverage. If you have the leverage, use it, right? If he doesn't do what he did, the rest of the world doesn't take him serious anymore. This is why they respect him so much across the world. All these world leaders talk to him, call him, want to invest in the US now, want to have diplomacy with him, is because they know he means what he says. He won't fuck around with you. If you want to talk the US is supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. How are other countries going to tell us no whenever we're trying to send them back illegal immigrants? Of course not. So he's showing you what it's like to actually stand your ground and do what's right, and not just bend at the knee. That's what gets respect from people, and this is why people respect him.
Yeah, it's a great point. There's so much that's like the newest and latest example of him doing that too. It's not only that, but I like the point where you said it's like protecting the family, because there's lots of things that, a child might do, uh, take children as like U.S. citizens, and then the president, being the authority figure, that maybe the father has to lay the laws down that sometimes the people won't like. And I think that's kind of what he is doing and what he has to do, because we've gotten so off track over the past couple of years of what we're trying to do, for the future, that you're going to see that. A lot of people, I've been seeing things pop up on the internet of like, oh, he's doing this, doing that, doing this, and doing that. Well, first of all, he said he was going to do these things, so it's nothing new. It's not like he just like started doing random things. Like he kind of ran on some of this stuff, was going to, ICE and other things, Doge, cutting funding for other things. I actually saw a number that was pretty fascinating. Doge, from the official Doge Twitter account, that they're saving $1 billion a day now. $1 billion a day. They want to get it to 3 billion a day, just from other funding and stuff like that. But they've largely cut off foreign aid, so other countries aren't getting, all these foreign aids. I don't know if you saw the one yesterday, but it was $50 million for condoms in Gaza. Did you see that?
I did. And weren't they making balloons and shit out of them and sending them over to fucking
How many
Israel?
condoms can you buy with $50 million?
I don't know what they're doing with those condoms. They're making balloon animals out of them. They're using them to bang. They're sending them to Israel. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, what kind of money? And that's what I was saying. I was talking to somebody else about this before too. It's whenever you have so much money where it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
and people who don't understand how money works are in control of that money, they're going to spend it frivolously, not understanding that just because you have unlimited money doesn't mean you should spend unlimited money, right? Trump is looking at it like, well, we have money, sure, we have the US dollar, we can print the US dollar, but just because we have the US dollar doesn't mean we should overpay for everything. It doesn't mean we should get fucked over on everything, because that's how you get into massive debt, huge debt. How's our country the biggest? Is it still the largest GDP in the world? Yeah. How do we have the largest GDP in the world? We're supposed to be the wealthiest, richest country, but we have trillions of dollars in debt. How is that even fathomable? How does that ever happen? That doesn't make sense. Well, because it's from outrageous, egregious government overspending, because they don't care how much money gets spent, because it's not,
Yeah.
number one, it's not their money, it's the people's money or the government's money that they just print. So they just boom, 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 send it, send it, send it, send it. It's not how you run a fucking business. If you're running a $1 billion business, is that how you would spend your money? No. So then why is the government spending money in that way? That doesn't make sense. And that's how you get into massive debt.
Yeah, 22 trillion, which is what I kind of wanted to go towards next, is how over the past couple of years it's been a steady increase of debt, but a steady decline of GDP production. Well, not decline, kind of flattening, I would say. So US corporations aren't making as many goods and shipping them out to other people. That's flatlined because of the things we've seen over the past couple of years with just your manufacturing power. There's just they go places that are cheaper. There's nothing you could really do. So United States has to become a manufacturing hub. And how do you do that? Well, this is the big controversy of the economy with Trump is tariffs. So when the United States was at its forefront before World War One, World War Two, even during World War One, World War Two, was exporting products, right? We were the manufacturing Pittsburgh steel country, right? Manufacturing steel, all different stuff, tobacco, went all over the place. So we have to get back to those roots. I saw an interesting fact, speaking of steel, is that China owns 90% of steel manufacturing corporations or warehouses, whatever you want to call them, in the whole world, 90%. So think about just the money they take in from generating steel and shipping it across all other countries. That is such a moneymaker, and that's what we have to get back to is giving. And I like the how you rounded it in with taxes because once we create jobs here in America and money starts coming in, you don't want to just take that money back out of the American people's hands. Let them keep it, and that's what grows the economy because Americans, and we talked about this before, are inherently spenders. We buy stuff all day, every day. Look at Amazon, look at
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, right? We're consumers. We buy, and it keeps the economy circulating, and that's why you see small businesses do so well. So that's where we need to get back to creating stuff here, selling it to other nations, getting our tariff money, ka-ching, hit the bank, and then we spend it amongst ourselves. That's how we were built, and that's how we got to where we are today. So I hope we can get back to that soon.
And it's about enriching the American people. That's why it's so important to understand the opportunity that you have in the next 4 years, where you finally have an administration, right? People who are wanting to put America first, as opposed to sending billions and billions of dollars to other countries, money launder it, fraudulent behavior, getting other people, other world leaders rich. These next 4 years, I'm telling you, whoever's watching right now, understand that this is going to be more than likely one of your last opportunities to ever get out of your situation financially, physically, mentally. Right now is the opportunity in the US to get back to getting the American people rich. We're going to bring back businesses here. We're going to lower the taxes here. We're going to export more products, more goods without bringing in importing more products and goods and without sending more jobs overseas. This is your opportunity to actually make money and get rich in the United States right now. This is why, again, it's so important to be part of a network like me and Bobby were talking about with the Taylor's Code. The reason it's grown so quickly, the reason that we're building this network that's gonna by the end of this year have 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people in it, is because as you have the opportunity to make money, you have to take advantage of that, and you have to be around other people who are making money so that you can take advantage of that. Find the network of people right now. Find the opportunities to make money because these next 4 years will be one of the last opportunities to do so. You can see the energy shifting in the US where it's the mindset is bring money back to the US. We've been talking about this on multiple live streams for however many months now. I keep saying, where's the new stuff that America's building? Where's the new infrastructure? Where are the new buildings? What's the new technology? What are we doing to make this country better? I don't see new things getting improved in the US. I see the same cities, the same infrastructure from the 1960s, from the 1980s. It's the same shit. Where's the innovation? Where's the money? Where's the riches that this country's supposed to be making? It's
Hmm.
all been getting exported and sent out to the rest of the world as opposed to developing the country itself.
And what do we get in return for that? A war in Russia, a war in Ukraine, a war in Israel, and so like what we get in return for having all our money go other places?
Yeah, nothing.
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 Yeah.
So so this is you see it. It's enrich the American people as opposed to other people. Oh, well, why should we get richer? Why should we make more money? Well, why should anybody else get richer off of us? There's two options. Either we send all the money out to the rest of the world and make them richer and let them take advantage of us because we have a lot of money and not the American people, the government. It's the government who has a lot of money. Or do we continue to develop and innovate and make ourselves richer? Well, I'm going to choose the latter, right? So it, take this opportunity right now. What's going to happen in crypto? What's going to happen in industry? What's going to happen in AI? Everything that's going to be the multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar industries moving forward, which is crypto, AI.
Hmm.
Make sure you're involved in those. Make sure you're making money in those and take these next 4 years seriously because this is going to be one of your last opportunities to actually get rich. And when I say rich, I don't mean, you know, $200,000, $300,000 a year, $400,000. No. When I say rich, I mean multi millionaire, hundreds of millions of dollars. You want to get rich? Right now is the time to do it in the United States. Right now is the time to do it if you know people in the US. People inside the Taylor's Code, they're all over the world. The people that work with us, all over the world. But guess what? They make US dollars. They're attached to us, which are people in the US. This is how you get rich. You attach yourself to the richest nation with the best currency and you make US dollars so you can make yourself rich, right? So, yeah, people got to move with some urgency right now. These next 4 years is your opportunity.
So I think it's a good little segue to the next question I had for you. Um, Monday morning, markets kind of reacted to some news over the weekend of a new Chinese AI DeepSeek. Curious on your thoughts of that. Obviously, a lot less funding than what we've seen with OpenAI, ChatGPT. I downloaded it, wanted to check it out. I mean, it's an AI chatbot. From what I got, I tried to, the project that I was talking about before we went live, I tried to kind of create the same project over there. And it didn't do anything different. It spit out different words from my prompt than what it actually was. But here's the two main takeaways that I've heard other people online talk about. One, they did it for a lot cheaper. And they do it with a lot more energy efficient. So they got NVIDIA, the highest end NVIDIA chips to do it. Here's my takeaway from it is that one, this is nothing new, right? When America comes out with something innovative like AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, right? When America comes out with something innovative, what does China do? They make a cheaper alternative. They've done this since the beginning of time. Like this is nothing new. China has always stolen our ideas and created a cheaper, better alternative. Sometimes better, sometimes not. iPhone and Samsung's, you could go back and forth, but So that's why I was a little confused on why the market took such a hard dump off this news. I couldn't really put it together because I was like, they always do this. They always take our ideas and they put their own spin on it and then they have success with it. So what is your take on why the market reacted like that? Because I didn't really understand why it was such a big deal or dump.
Right. And so what you're saying is correct. That those were the things that scared people, which I agree to. It's nothing to be the market should be, you know, afraid of. But you show me the chart, I show you the news. A lot of the news events that come out, the stories that come out that manipulate markets, genuinely, it's so funny whenever you're in markets and you understand how these market makers operate. You realize that, oh, they decide the news based on how they want the market to react to give them an opportunity to either distribute their positions or to accumulate their positions whenever it's down. And so Nvidia had been up only for so long that they just
Yeah.
needed a catalyst to basically take profit, nuke the price a little bit if they wanted to accumulate a little bit more before this next leg up. It's it's a fugazi. It's not real. There's no Nvidia's not going to go under because of this company, the deep fake. I call it deep fake because it's like you said, it's the same thing. It's just a fucking chatbot. There's nothing different about it. But it goes to show you though, because I was talking to my brother about this too. He was telling me about a couple of things he knew. It's the U.S. companies were trying to prevent China from getting the latest chips or being able to fund their AI with the same level of funding as Nvidia and these other American companies. And it was just what we were talking about with the US overspending on things. As soon as a company is constrained financially or hardware wise on what they can use, they find ways to get the same outcome
That's so
using less
funny.
resources, right?
It's so funny you say that because I started this new book and that was literally the chapter I read last night. Hang on, let me find it. Um, where is it? It was literally this chapter right here, and it starts with companies that are constrained financially will always be more creative than companies with financial resources. It's literally the first line right here.
That's
That's so funny you said. I read that last night. That's so funny.
and that's exactly what my first thought was. I told that to my brother in the car because we were talking about it. Because he told me they were able to get a better product with less resources, less money, etc. That what you just read was exactly what I told him. I said, interesting. Isn't that funny how when you have less resources, more constraints, those companies find a way to still make it happen because they're forced to make it happen.
Hmm.
That's the downside of having an Nvidia who has unlimited funding, this multi-trillion-dollar company. They don't have to be efficient. They don't have to be creative because they can just spend more money and accomplish the task. That company, they didn't have the money, and that's why everybody was freaking out like, "Oh, wait, so you don't need that much money to make AI. Wait, so you don't need that much energy to make AI." Well, yeah, you don't, because if you can't have that money or you can't have that energy be used, well, you're going to find a way to do it with less money and less energy.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So that's why it's good to not have, like the US government we were just talking about, unlimited funding, because then you're not efficient with anything that you do, which is how
Yep.
you get into debt as the largest GDP country in the world, which is insane.
Yep, that's a good point. And I think with that, kind of the controversy between the two companies, OpenAI and this deepfake, is the battle between open source coding and closed circuit. I'm not a coder. I'm not really, technical in this field, but I think that's kind of why they were able to do some like create a better version of ChatGPT because it's open source. People could go in there and customize it, change it to how they see fit, and that opens up the world to more engineers, more coders to go in and change it and to optimize it. On the other hand, OpenAI is, it's a company. They hire people to come in and build this thing. So they probably hired people over the past 6 to 10 years, however long they've been going. And there's maybe a team of like 1,000 engineers working on this. But on the other hand, this deep fake, they're open source. So people could go in and work on it, optimize it. And it could be, China has 3 billion people. So if like 1% of the population has been using this app, that's like 300 million people that have been going in and optimizing and building on this. So it's an interesting conversation. And I know American companies have always kind of chosen the closed sourcing. Like look at Apple, Apple's closed sourcing. I think Microsoft is actually open source to some extent for some softwares. You could go in and change things around.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that's another conversation that they were talking about with kind of this AI news.
Yeah, deep fake. Interesting.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the way, and here's another thing too, is that news coming out when it did in confluence with the FOMC meeting today again is it's too perfect. It's too perfect of a reason to dump the markets on Monday, de-risk into Wednesday. We do the FOMC meeting, and then guess what happens next week? We start ripping again. So yeah, it's not. I was showing somebody. I could even pull up the chart. If you have you ever looked at the S&P 500 chart?
Yeah, it's literally one direction and one direction only.
It's up only forever. And so people get afraid and oh, Nvidia nuked and the stock market, blah 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 blah. The stock market is a complete scam, or at least the
Hmm.
S&P 500. It is the scammiest chart ever. So the reason they have these big nukes on something like an Nvidia on Monday is institutions, these big hedge funds, they need an opportunity to accumulate so that they can make gains. And when the chart is pretty much up only to the right, there's not a lot of opportunities to get positioning and actually enter into the market. And what happened Monday is Nvidia gapped down 15-20%, which is ridiculous gap down on a stock that big. But why would they want to gap down 15-20%? Well, they got to get some kind of entry on Nvidia. It's been up only for the past fucking 3-4 years. So it makes sense. It just makes sense. They needed a
Hmm.
position to be, or they needed to be able to get into a position again on Nvidia before they send it up higher. Or they were looking for an opportunity to distribute if Nvidia is pretty much topped right now. One or the other. But there's a reason
Yeah.
why it nuked that hard. 15-20% on Nvidia is not, it wasn't an accident. That was,
I think that's a good idea as well, is that it's been topped out like you said now, and this news kind of gave them the chance to maybe spread around some assets, get rid of some Nvidia, take some profit on that because it has, like you said, it's only been up for the past 2 years. So I do see that as a good opportunity to sell if you are a large Nvidia holder, dilute your portfolio a little bit into something else. If other companies are going to start coming out with AI like this and stuff like that, you got to have some cash available to buy in on these new companies as well.
mm-hmm.
So these large hedge funds that made billions of dollars off Nvidia over the past 2 years, it was a great opportunity for them to kind of get out, rethink about it. And it's not even like they have to get out of it. They're gonna get in at a 20% discount if they time it right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like take your profits and get back into Nvidia. So we'll see what happens with that. Like you said, big meeting today. And do you maybe want to tell the people who aren't familiar kind of what that meeting's all about and who will be talking, stuff like that?
Yeah, so FOMC, people ask me about this all the time. Um, I'll pull it up right now because we got the meeting should be at about 2 or 3 o'clock Eastern. What time? Let's see. Let's see. I'll get a time pulled up. It's later today. But anyways, FOMC is the Federal Open Market Committee. So the reason that there's a lot of attention on this meeting every time they do it is basically this is Jerome Powell coming out to the media and telling them what the Fed's going to do in terms of rate hikes or rate cuts. Now, why does the Fed raise rates or cut rates? Well, basically to curb inflation. So, example, COVID happens in 2020. COVID sparked a ridiculous amount of money printing because they had to stimulate the economy because they basically shut everything fucking down. So if nobody's making money, nobody's spending money, well, they got to stimulate the economy somehow. So they literally just printed out the fucking ass. So when you print an outrageous amount of money, well, if there's more US dollars around, that means the value of the US dollar goes down, inflation. So how does the Fed fix that? So what the Fed did is they went on a huge rate cut spree. So they hiked rates up at a ridiculous amount. And this is why now homes are so expensive, the loans on homes. all loans, the interest rates are fucking super high because the Fed raised all their rates, which means loans are more expensive. So it's more expensive to borrow money. The more expensive it is to borrow money, the less money people borrow, stops inflation. That's the idea. So now that we've gotten things under control, even though the inflation people have noticed, I'm sure over the last 4 years has been fucking insane. But so they've been cutting rates now. So basically, Jerome Powell comes out and he's going to say, "Hey, we cutting rates, or we hiking rates, etc." And based on what the Fed does, that is what the market used to determine. Oh, okay, is this a bullish economy? Is this a bearish economy? What's going to happen to the markets? So this is why there's so much attention around this meeting. So Jerome Powell is basically just going to come out and say what he thinks is happening to the economy right now. Is inflation going down? How's the housing market? What's going on with interest rates? And then once we get those answers from Jerome Powell, basically the market will price in however they feel he did or whatever he's trying to portray to the public. Okay.
Hmm.
Is that a good explanation? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a great explanation. And what do you expect him to do? Do you think he's gonna cut rates? Do you think he's gonna increase rates? I expect him to cut rates maybe by, you know, a fourth of a percent. Could be higher. I don't know exactly though.
Yeah. So I know right now, I'm pulling it up. I know right now that there's basically a very, very low percent chance he actually cuts today.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the statistics right now. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Oh no, this is fucking old. Why would you give me a fucking old article? What the hell? Fed very likely to wait until March for next year. Exactly. So yeah, there's not going to be a rate cut today. That's what the probabilities are, because it's the first meeting under a new administration. So he's probably going to want to come out, be, relaxed, not make any rate cuts, no rate hikes. He wants to probably see how the tariffs influence the economy and influence inflation and see how that starts affecting things before they decide to make a move, which makes sense. So it's not priced in a rate cut right now.
Hmm.
If we got a rate cut, here's how funny markets are. Wait. Ollie's asking some questions in here. Is it worth putting a little money aside in an index fund each month from as soon as I can, or I will be able to make more money putting it elsewhere? I mean, yeah. I wouldn't put my money in an index fund. Index funds make sense if you have outrageous capital that you obviously can't distribute into small assets. But if you're, investing anything less than $100 million or $10 million, well, yeah, under 10 million, 100 million, sure, yeah. Under 10 mil, there's no reason to really be in a S&P or an index fund, because
Nah.
yeah, you're just going to be able to size into something that's going to give you more return. If you have 10 million, just throw it in Bitcoin. It's going to get you more money.
Yeah, I mean, for a person in Ollie's position, he's going to be able to find way more opportunity in the crypto markets, way more, even in individual stocks. If he finds a company he likes, he might see a 10 to 20, 30% return over the year. An index fund might only get him 10% on a good year. That's not even guaranteed. So you're definitely going to have better opportunities elsewhere, but it just takes a little more research. Index funds make it simple, right? They're
Right.
conglomerating a bunch of stocks and real estate and all these other industries into one thing. Um, that they create. So it's a little unpredictable from that standpoint. You don't know exactly what you're investing your money into, but it's safer because it's de-risking, diversifying your investment.
Right. And so, what was the thing I was saying with the Fed? Oh, interesting how markets react to the rate cuts. So, they look at it as a rate cut means that money is cheaper to borrow, which is bullish for small cap companies. If small cap companies traded in the IWM, have cheaper capital, have access to cheaper capital, that's bullish because they can borrow more money, they can grow faster, they can generate more business. If IWM performs well, if small cap companies, high risk stocks perform well, so does crypto. So they look at rate cut as bullish. That's the way that market interprets it. The only thing that's bad, though, is markets don't like uncertainty. So if, for example, we have a 1% chance that we get a rate cut today, if he comes out and does a rate cut, even though a rate cut overall should be bullish for the economy, it means it's good, inflation's coming down, we don't need to have high interest rates, the market's not going to like that because it doesn't have it priced in. So if they do a rate cut today, random, the market's
Yeah,
going to take
gotcha.
that as, what happened? What happened? Why did we get a rate cut? There wasn't supposed to be a rate cut today. You're going to see a sell off. So it's so interesting how markets react to these things because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it's just for short term positioning. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at the rate cuts very one-sided as well. They usually take on the perspective of their side of, okay, if they're going to cut rates, that means I could get a car loan cheaper. That means I could buy a house cheaper. But you got to think about the flip side of the institutional money that's loaning out this money at a cheaper rate now, how they're going to react to the market. Because think of PNC Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Chase Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs. These are all companies that pretty much build the markets and lend the money. So when they're going to make less money off your investment or your purchase of a home or a house, how is that going to affect the market? So I don't think a lot of people think about that, especially when it comes to looking at stocks, crypto, things like that, that these big players, these big banks, these big lenders are going to make a little bit less money off of your purchase now. So they're going to try to price in their net loss now because if they're not making as much on interest rates, they have to make up for that somewhere else. So it's all a big game on the chessboard.
So with the banks, they would actually they wouldn't lose profit because if the Fed has lower interest rates, they can borrow money at a lower rate too. So it's not like if the Fed brings down their rates, the banks make less money. The only reason that the banks and these big institutions charge more interest whenever the Fed rates are higher is because they have to charge more interest to be able to make a profit,
Yep.
if that makes sense. So when the
Yeah.
Fed lowers rates, banks and institutions can lower rates too because they don't they can also borrow money lower, if that makes sense. So they don't lose out on money. It's just they're basically adjusting their interest rates
No, they're
based on the
definitely
hedging.
not losing out on no money. They're always factoring in and they have plans for this stuff but I was talking in terms of more of how the market will react to it because maybe they dump an asset in order to make space for another asset. It could be anything. These companies are so large and different holdings that they have so much on their balance sheet, income statement that they make that they have that luxury that small businesses and individuals can't do. They could dump assets, pick up assets, like you said, at a cheaper rate. They want to accumulate a little more debt to go out and build something else, something big that might cost $10 billion, but they drop interest rates. They could take out a loan to go build that new skyscraper in New York, but that means they might actually have to sell off a little section of the business in somewhere else. So that's what I was trying to get at, that they have an advantage when things like that happen because they have so much capital at disposal.
And here's the other thing too for people that are looking for properties. Anything that's an asset is a pair trade. So an asset only goes up in value if it's worth more against the US dollar. So as the US dollar goes up in value, technically, if your asset, the demand for it doesn't go up and the supply stays the same, then your asset's going to go down in value because the US dollar is becoming more powerful. As the US dollar decreases in value, because all assets are denominated in US dollars, technically your asset goes up in value, even if the supply and the demand don't change. So everything's a pair trade. So people who invest into financial markets and crypto, like us in the Taylor's Code, we're making money on crypto. The reason the vast majority of my wealth is in crypto is because, and not properties. Like for example, why don't I have rental properties right now? Whenever I could buy a house, I could buy a rental property. Why don't I do that? Because right now the pair trade doesn't make sense. I would be able to make way more money and have a lot more upside on crypto right now as we're in a bull run, a bull market, than I would in a property. Because right now, properties, the interest rates on loans are so high that it doesn't make sense to buy right now. Also, properties are so expensive right now as well because not only are the interest rates high on new loans, but because interest rates are so high on new loans, everybody who got locked in at a 2%, 2.5%, 3% interest rate on their loan, on their house, they're also not willing to sell, which means supply is lower and demand is high, therefore making all properties more expensive. They're not willing to sell because they're not going to sell their house, get rid of a great interest rate on a mortgage to then get a new mortgage on a new house that's much higher.
Yep.
They're not incentivized to do that. So I see a lot of people who are buying houses right now, especially our age. They're trying to buy their first house, start a family, do all these kinds of things, which I get it, makes sense. I understand why they're doing it, but I look at it and say, that's a mistake. Financially, that's a mistake. That doesn't make sense right now. You got to wait until these interest rates come all the way back down as the Fed continues to cut rates. And then when it makes sense, the bull market's over, equity markets are topped out, crypto's topped out, and you're taking profits and you're rotating out of these assets. Then you take that money and rotate it into a new asset, a new pair trade, which could be a property. So, or if you can buy the property cash, then obviously by all means go buy the property cash, but just make sure you get a good deal on it because again, property prices are so high right now because of no supply.
Yeah, and I think it honestly it comes back to what we were talking about before with creating the manufacturing in the U.S. A lot of construction companies and stuff had had a difficult time sourcing supplies and things like that over the past couple of years. So as we see lumber start to come down, we start to see steel come down, glass, like materials to build housing. Hopefully, we could start seeing new builds for housing that's all cheaper, more affordable for people. Even maybe renting go down. Renting is so expensive all over the place, and I think it has something to do with landlords, t being greedy. I saw a video yesterday. A guy in Atlanta, he had like a shitty storefront, like in the middle of Atlanta, somewhere not a great location. He was getting charged $15,000 for this storefront, and the landlord said, "Hey, come in. We're gonna talk about renewals and stuff." And the guy already knew he was leaving, so he was like, "Okay, whatever. I'll go in." The landlord said he was gonna increase his rent 20% for the next 5 years. So in 5 years, he'd be paying double what he's paying right now, $30,000. And the guy's like, "Hey, I hate to break it to you, but I'm leaving." And so is the store next to me, and the store next to him is already gone. They already packed their bags, they're moving out. The landlord was shook. He's like, oh. He's about to lose all his revenue because he's just profit driven, like trying to be hungry. So I think as things open up and people are able to rent places cheaper, storefronts can actually make a living on a storefront as opposed to spending all your money on rent somewhere. I think we're gonna see a big shift in the real estate market coming soon. You could feel it. It's like on a tipping point. It was really bad, 2 years ago. It's starting to lead the other way. That's favorable for people. But like you said, people buying a house, not the best investment. Definitely investing in housing, I don't think is good at all. People need somewhere to live. So buying a house, it's like, okay, you got to do what you got to do at some point. But investing and just going out and buying houses and buying real estate to make Airbnbs and stuff like that, you're going to have a way better return in other sectors of the market from crypto to stocks and other things too. Even if you want to just go out and build commercial real estate and sell it on the flip, I think is better than buying and just like renting out or Airbnb something.
Exactly. And commercial real estate is going to have a big crash here pretty soon because on those loans, whenever companies get loans for commercial real estate, typically the rates are locked in for about anywhere from 5 to 7 years. Different than a regular home loan where a rate can be locked in for the entire 30-year mortgage that somebody gets 25-year mortgage. Commercial is typically about 5 to 7 years. So what you're going to see is all these companies that have these commercial real estate properties are going to start getting increasing rates on their loans, right? Their loans are going to change. And so a lot of that property is going to get dumped onto the market. And once it gets dumped onto the market, the pricing for the commercial real estate is going to start tanking. So that's something to also be on the lookout as well, because everything's about making a smart investment, a good pair trade. So as you rotate out of crypto and all the money we're going to make off of this bull run, you want to start rotating it into the things that are crashing at that moment. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to buy things whenever it's green, whenever it's high, whenever it's exciting, it's sexy. I've said this so many times. I'm trying to put this through people's brains. You can't, that's not how you make money. Okay? It's very logical. If you want to make money, you have to buy low when it's not sexy and sell high when everybody else wants it. That's what gives it the value, is that everybody wants it. So, for example, crypto. Crypto has been ranging down for the past month, right? Everybody looks at what they're holding now and says, oh, this is dog shit. It's going down. It's red. What the fuck? Buy. This is when you have to buy it because it's low. As soon as Ethereum, as soon as Bitcoin, as soon as these things become sexy again and they start pumping, everybody else is going to start buying it while your bags are ripping. But what happens 99% of the time is everybody sells now that they feel like their asset sucks because it's going down and it's red. They sell
Hmm.
it low and then it starts pumping again and they go, oh shit, let me buy it again. And they buy high. It's incredible, the human mind, the psychology of it. You can't do that. Right now, so my point is with real estate, right? So you rotate out of crypto when everything's sexy, it's pumping up to Valhalla, boom, 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 boom. You start rotating out of crypto into real estate whenever the market starts crashing. So wait for the crash. 2008, market crash, everybody's trying to get out of their homes, everybody's loans are fucked up, etc. Get this financial crisis. What did all the rich people do who had fiat? Boom. You hear the stories now about people who got all these properties at a discount and got rich as shit off of the housing market collapse because they bought everything at a fucking discount.
Yep.
You buy at the discount, not at the premium. So don't go out buying rental properties right now, commercial real estate, etc. Again, it's not that you can't make money. My point is that it's not the best option right now. When things crash, when that market dies and everybody can come in once the fucking crisis has happened from these interest rates and these loans, you come in and you scoop it up, baby. Now you start scooping up at the fucking bottom and then you jeet, right? You jeet your properties at the top if you want to sell them. That's how you
Yeah, I
do it.
think that's a good point. And we haven't seen people really selling, like you said, because of the interest rate. So it's been kind of a bottleneck in the housing market, especially with boomers, the whole majority of the wealth in the country. And they're holding on to their real estate portfolios like never before. You hear stories that these people have three, four, five, six, seven houses that they're just not willing to sell because it doesn't make sense for them financially, and they want to hold on to it, pass it down to their kids. So yeah, it's been a struggle, but I think, like we said, we're at a tipping point. I think we'll see a lot of new builds being brought in, cheaper loans for people, even rent. I think rent will start hopefully coming down because you could look at any city in the United States and just go on the rent. And there's so many houses for rent. People say we have a housing crisis. Well, look at all the available properties to go and rent. They're just so expensive that no one's willing to pay those prices, so they're just going to sit empty. And that's, I think, one of the main concerns about the housing crisis in this country is that there is property out there. There's so many. You could go walk down any street on any city in America and see places for rent. It's just that it's at a budget for majority of the people in this world. Like for the people that are going to pay $4,000 or $5,000 for a house for rent, it's like you could go get a mortgage for that amount and own your house for the foreseeable future. So there has to be some kind of give and take here eventually, where young people like us that are fresh out of school, fresh into a new industry, workforce, starting their own business, who don't have that $200,000 to put down on a house, on an $800,000 house, $1 million house, because that's like what the prices are for these normal, nice houses. People want to live in nice houses. They don't want to live in a shitty house. So it's gonna have to come to a point where someone's taking a little bit back or giving a little bit back. So it's gonna be interesting to see, but I think we're on the right track.
And that's the importance of being able to make money online too. Everything that we teach inside the Taylor's Code is making money online. You show people how to build, develop e-commerce stores to be able to make money online. I do crypto. We all invest in crypto. Sales, if you're able to do virtual sales. Being able to make money online and not being tied to a location is an incredible freedom that you have in today's world that you need to take advantage of, because now if you do live in a place where the prices are outrageous, hey, guess what? While you're building your business, while you're trying to get rich, while you're making your money, go move somewhere where it's not expensive to live. There are plenty of places around the United States that might not be Miami or Los Angeles where you can go
Hmm.
get a banger house, banger apartment, wherever it is you're trying to build your business and not pay outrageous premiums to live there. If you look in Texas, Texas is one of my favorite places to look at houses because I
This
was looking,
is.
yeah. Because first of all, Texas is a fantastic state. Okay, they got their heads on pretty straight, and it's so large. There's so much land that you can get a mansion in Texas for a fraction of the cost as it would be in California, Florida,
Yep.
New York, etc.
Hmm.
So you don't, if you're not tied to a location, don't be closed-minded and think you can only look where you're looking. Make money online, develop an income that you can do from anywhere. Even if it's not even in the US, you want to go to Mexico? I was thinking about building a house in Mexico. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I am going to build a house in Mexico, but the reason I'm choosing Mexico to build a house is because number one, I love it. Great. I just love it. I love being by the water, by the beach. Cabo is fantastic. And what I'm able to build there and the type of privacy I can have is so worth it for what I would pay as opposed to what I would pay just somewhere in the US. It's just, yeah, I'm going to have properties in the US, but right now, like I said, it just doesn't make sense to build here. It doesn't make sense to buy here. So I'm just not going to. If it doesn't make sense, I just won't do it. I'll do it in
Hmm.
Mexico. And when it makes sense in the US, then I'll get my fucking spot in Miami. It's fine. I'll be patient. I don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that goes to our point before is like so many people, but it's before our generation is it's like they bought when it wasn't sexy, like you said. Like think of all the people that lived in Miami in the early 2000s. Nobody was really talking about Miami. They bought these houses, they built these houses. Even like think of a city like Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, uh, Charlottesville, South Carolina. Like there's all these little cities and towns throughout the US who were never anything. Like nobody ever thought of them. You know, they weren't New York, they weren't DC, they weren't Los Angeles, they weren't San Diego, they weren't any of those places. But
Mm-hmm.
now, you know, tides shift and people talk about what we're talking about, getting the best deal, the bang for your buck, not being geographically constrained. Now, good luck buying a property in Miami. Good luck buying a property in Nashville, Tennessee. Like even Dallas, like I'm sure what the real estate market is now in Texas isn't even comparable to what it was 10 years ago in 2015, 2016.
Right.
Those houses you see for $4 or $5 million in Texas, which are still like incredible, like mega mansions, were probably half the price 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just things change so quickly. And if you want your money to go long, like you said, you got to buy when it's not sexy. You got to buy, you have to fix it up too. That's the thing about real estate is it's not just buy it and watch it increase in value. There's different trends on the inside of the house that people want. And if you could notice it too, if you see a house built in the 80s or the 90s, you'd be like, that house looks old. Now everything is so modern, glass, granite finishes. It's like it's a lot of work. So that's why real estate is a lot of work and not to dump too much money in there if you can't really afford it or make other avenues of income.
Real estate is not passive. I want to make sure I remind everybody of that. Everybody says, "Oh, I want to build a passive income. I want to own real estate, rental properties, etc." Player, when you first start out, if you don't have millions and millions of dollars to play with and you have property management companies and people that you have that run all your rental properties, which of course, once you get to that point, it is more passive. It is. 9 times out of 10, people starting out getting their first real estate property, their first rental property, this shit ain't passive, player.
Mm-mm.
This shit ain't passive. So get that out of your head. I love when people say, I want to make a passive income. I want to own real estate or I want to get into real estate. I've heard everybody say that for the past 4 years. Everybody has the idea of getting into real estate. It's not because why? Because they think it's easy. Of course, everybody thinks everything's passive. I want passive, 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 passive. Guy, nothing's fucking passive. Okay, and I
It's
can.
like building any other business. You're gonna have to put in the work in the beginning, and once you get to a certain point of success, yeah, you could take your foot off the gas, let the managers do their thing, let the CFO do his thing. But in the beginning, it's like any other business. You're gonna have to build it, and you're gonna have to work for it for you to get to that point where you could take your foot off the gas.
Exactly. Not everything is, well, nothing is completely passive, but like you said, there's going to be work involved. All right, so get this dream out of your head that you're going to have this passive income and never having to do anything. Bruv, that's not how shit works, baby. It's not how shit fucking works. So, oh, Pompino, what's this?
What's he doing
A
now?
little piece of news with Pompino's face on it.
Live. This is breaking news here on the
Breaking
Gentleman's
news.
Coast.
This is why you guys show up to the fucking gentleman's code. Bullish. Trump media allocates 250 million to Bitcoin and crypto, plus launches fintech brand Truth.fi. Company set to diversify investments and offer American first financial products, boosting its ecosystem and growth potential. There you go. So if Pompino is bullish on crypto and Ethereum, what do you think is going to happen to the price, ladies and gentlemen? It's funny. I had people messaging me about Pepe and shit yesterday. Oh, Pepe. So one of them was fucking. Wait. Oh, what was that? Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
Hold on, hold on. Let me go back here.
Oh, you get a subscriber.
Yeah, we got a subscriber, the live. Look at that. I heard it go off. It was the Twitch. It was the Twitch thing. I'm like, what the fuck happened? We got a Twitch
They
subscriber
heard the
live.
breaking news. They knew they had to subscribe after that.
They heard the Pompino. T Junior underscore is now following. What a
There
fucking
you go.
what a fucking stud. That guy's probably a fucking dog. If he's subscribing to the Taylor's code to the properly paid channel, he's a fucking savage. I know T Junior's a savage. But what? Yeah, if Pompino is bullish on crypto and all this shit, what do you think is going to happen to the price of Ethereum? You think the president of the United States is going to accumulate hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum, and he's going to let that piece of shit continue to ride to zero? Fuck no.
Hell no.
Listen, I'm not fading a billionaire. You're telling me a billionaire is accumulating Ethereum? Give me more Pepe. Give me more Andy. Give me more Wolf. I want it all. The same way he's buying ETH, I'm buying the boys club. I'm telling you, it's gonna fucking pump. Anyways, what? Okay, last thing, and then I'll let you take us out. People were hitting me up yesterday about Pepe. One guy said it was so funny. He goes, I think he said Pepe is something about Pepe dumping. He goes, Pepe is dumping right now. I was like, what, you think I didn't see? You don't think I'm watching this shit every single day? Like, yeah, I know. I see it. So I don't know what you want me to say here. But I think that's so funny. Pepe's dumping right now. That was all the message was.
So, okay, I'll buy more.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Thanks for the heads up.
Oh, didn't know. Thanks, bro. Let me go buy. Which I actually am. I'm buying more on Friday. So I'm waiting until after the meeting today, and then I'm gonna buy more this week. Our player. I mean, we gave him the fucking juice.
Yeah.
Anything else you got?
No, great episode. A lot of conversations. If you guys are watching this now, after the fact, like we said, we get 95% of the views after the channel, after the live stream. So if you guys are here, you made it this far in the video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment any questions you guys had, any topics or conversation you guys want to see us have in the future. We read every comment, so make sure to drop that below, and we'll make sure to we'll talk through any topics the gentlemen want to see us talk about.
If you want to be a Giga Chad like T Junior, subscribe to the Twitch as well. We have the X live stream going. Follow the account, retweet the stream. If you guys are not a part of the Taylor's Code already, again, you're just going to continue to see us grow, continue to see us win, continue to see us get richer and richer and richer. All of 2025 and for the rest of eternity. You can either join now in these next 4 years when you have the opportunity to get rich in the United States again, or you can cope and watch and say, oh, if only I was working with these guys. If I was a part of the network. If only I knew Priyamo and Bobby on a personal level and had their personal phone number, were able to call them up anytime because I had a multi-million-dollar play we could make and make money with them. If only. Well, right now is the opportunity. The link is in the description. Join the Taylor's Code. We have huge things coming. In the next month, we're going to be transitioning to a new platform. We're going to be offering new services, and we're going to go ahead and increase the network from that point on. So join the Taylor's Code. Come make money in crypto, e-commerce store. Bobby will help you set one up. Sales, if you're looking for a virtual sales environment, I'll teach you how to be a fucking savage salesperson and then place you in an actual sales opportunity because I have access to a couple of different multi-million-dollar opportunities with sales, which is not an exaggeration at all.
Nope.
And yeah, join the Taylor's Code. If you join the Taylor's Code and you're looking for the private crypto plays, this is where we're doing live positional updates on when we're buying assets, what we're accumulating, new assets that we're buying before we go live on YouTube with them. Also when we're selling, taking profit, and then how we're making money with our money in crypto outside of just investing into assets. There are ways for you to be able to make money in crypto outside of just buying a coin and waiting for the price to go up. If you're looking for all that inside the classroom section of the Taylor's Code, join the private crypto plays. We'll get you added to our private WhatsApp group. I'll get your phone number. We'll add you to the chat with all the other gentlemen that we invest with, be able to make money with us. And then, yeah, we'll continue to build, continue to grow. So Outside of that, I think I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good too. I was gonna say, if you're watching the stream, I bet you 99% of the people who watch this have not subscribed. And don't be one of them guys because you're gonna see us one day and be like, "Oh, I remember their live stream," and then we went off into the Ethernet and we were gone, never to be heard of again. And then they're gonna be biting themselves. So
Yep.
don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Don't be a fucking coper. Be the guy who fucking apes in like a Chad and watches this bitch go to infinity. All right. Pull up this and do a little Mr.
All right.
Producer. All right. Where are we at here? All right. Here we go. One more time. Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes.
We need a intro for the gentleman's code
Bomba
video.
clot. What? Gentleman's code vid
Yeah, like
intro.
a little jingle, and a little video before we go live.
We need a theme song. We're gonna have to get a Bangladeshi to make us a theme song. I'm gonna have to talk to I'll talk to Naeem. I'll say, who are the best artists in Bangladesh right now? We need a fucking banger jingle.